Morning, everybody. Welcome to our behavior skills training. My name is Mark Mireles. So what we're going to be focusing on today is a type of tier 2 intervention known as check-in and check-out. So on the agenda, what we're going to do for you, first, we're going to define what behavior skills training is and what tier 2 interventions are. So we're going to have an overview of the behavior skills training steps and some of the research backing it. We are going to give you some training on a specific type of tier 2 intervention known as check-in and check-out, using the training protocols that go along with behavior skills training, instructions, modeling, rehearsal, and feedback. We are going to show you how we monitor fidelity and how data is collected, and once we have that data in hand, what we do with it, what kind of decisions we make with it. We're going to reflect on some of the challenges that go along with check-in and check-out and how we overcome those challenges. We'll talk about some of the recommendations and how we maintain sustainability throughout the school year. Okay, so first, what is behavior skills training? So what it is, it's an evidence-based method for teaching new skills using 4 components. So the first component is instruction. So that's where we provide clear verbal descriptions of what the skills or processes that we're wanting to show the students. The second phase is modeling. So that's where we actually demonstrate for the student what that target skill is supposed to look like. And we can do this ourselves, or we can use a video demonstration. And then the third step is rehearsal. This is where we role play along with the students using like how we implement that skill using realistic scenarios. So this is what it's supposed to look like when you're in class or when you're in your checkout or check-in. And then the fourth step is providing feedback. So this is where we provide for performance-specific praise and corrections after they practice. Okay, so some of the research that has found behavior skills training to be effective. So Dr. DeGennaro Reed and colleagues in 2018 found that behavior skills training, that it rapidly increases staff performance across skills, with participants demonstrating generalizations to real classroom settings. So the staff reported high acceptance of behavior skills training and valued its immediate feedback. Dr. Cruz Torres and colleagues in 2020, they actually demonstrated that I-coaching, and what that is, that's video-based modeling along with feedback, combined with behavior skills training principles, enhanced overall behavior-specific praise delivery in rural classrooms, which improved teacher implementation fidelity. So Dr. Hassan and colleagues in 2018 validated that check-in and check-out, whenever it's implemented with fidelity and supported by staff training, that it reduces office discipline referrals by 40 to 60% in the first semester of implementation. So guys, think about that. That's huge. Imagine that student that's getting a write-up every day being cut in half. Okay, so this is something that all of you may be familiar with or may not have seen in a while. So what this is here, this is the multi-tiered system of supports, also known as the MTSS. So it's broken down into 3 tiers. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about tier 1 or tier 3, but essentially tier 1 is, these are universal supports. So these are classroom-wide supports that you give to around 80% of your class. And tier 2 supports are what we're focusing on today. And this affects between 15 and 20% of your class. So these are brief interventions. These are more targeted. So these are created to target students with minor to moderate behavioral concerns, like maybe tardiness, problems initiating tasks, maybe not turning in homework. So with tier 2 interventions, we use more targeted evidence-based practices. They can require maybe 15 to 20 minutes per week of focused support. So they can be implemented in small groups or individually. So some of the examples of these are check in and check out, which we're doing today, social skills groups, using structured breaks, or self-monitoring. So some of the results and outcomes we're looking for are reducing office discipline referrals, improving attendance, improving academics. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what is check-in and check-out. So what it is, it's a brief daily intervention where your students check in with an adult or mentor. They set the behavior goals and they check out at the end of the day to review the process. So why is check-in and out effective? So it provides your student with consistent adult connection. So these students build relationships with an adult or mentor and they feel supported throughout the school day. It provides them clear expectations. So you set specific goals that are measurable and student-centered. It provides the student with regular feedback. So every day they see immediate connection between behaviors and how that affects outcomes. It's also very scalable and sustainable, so you can serve between 5 and 15 students daily with one trained coordinator, and it's data driven. So our daily data informs and it allows us to make adjustments and measure their progress. Okay, so what does check-in and check-out look like? So in the morning, the students check in with their mentor, which takes about 2 to 3 minutes. So the mentor provides students with a warm personal greeting, like, hey, welcome in. You review their daily goals with them and you want to start their day off with a positive tone, setting them up for success. So throughout the day, the teachers will be the ones providing feedback on their daily point sheet, which I'll go over here in a bit. And also the teachers will want to reinforce those goals. And in the afternoon, they check out again with their mentor. And that usually only takes about 2 to 3 minutes. So what the mentor does is takes a look over their point sheet. You review their day with them. You celebrate their progresses. You reflect on any challenges they may have had. And you kind of start reviewing for the following day. Okay, so now step 1, instructions. So what you see on the left there is the behavior card, and this is something that you will see, teachers, you will see it throughout the school day. So what the card has on it, it has the targeted goals that we're looking to address. And on this particular card, it has, for each skill, it has a 0, a 1, or a 2. So 0 meaning they didn't do this skill at all. 1 is, they did it some of the time. And then the 2 being, man, they just did this skill the entire time. So it allows the students to accrue points. And this is something that the parents will sign and send back. So basically what the instruction is, so first your mentor describes the target behavior to the student. So, hey, raise your hand, wait to be called on before speaking. During the check-in and check-out or during class, you explain to your student how check-in and check-out works and when to check out in and out with your mentor. So you're going to explain how the instructions, the function of check-in and check-out, how they can earn points, and earning those points can result in privileges throughout positive behavior. Sometimes you can offer tangibles so students understand that the skills do matter. So it also helps build their buy-in. So you want to frame it as a form of support, not like you're monitoring them, like, hey, I'm keeping an eye on you. So you want to frame it in a positive light. So just here, I'm just going to give you an example introduction dialogue, and I will play the part of the mentor and student myself. So let's say this is the first day I'm meeting Billy. So, hey, Billy, I'm excited to introduce you to our check-in and out program, man. This program is designed to help you be successful at school and build on your strength. Okay, so what do I need to do? Okay, so every morning you're going to meet with me for 2 to 3 minutes. What we'll do, we'll talk about your goals for each day. So during the day, your teachers will watch for those behaviors and they're going to mark your card. So at the end of the day, what we'll do, we will check out together and celebrate your progress. So if you earn enough points, you'll receive rewards. So our goal is helping you succeed. Are you ready? Okay, so that was just kind of an example of how an intro would go, like the first time meeting the student. Okay, so now we're going to move on to step 2, modeling. So what is modeling? So that's when the mentor, you demonstrate the correct way to perform the skill or behavior. You show the student exactly what success is supposed to look like. So it creates a clear visual and verbal picture of the expectation. So why does it matter? So why does modeling matter? So what it does, it reduces any kind of confusion or misconceptions about the expectation. So it provides the student a concrete example to imitate. So it increases that student confidence before we move on to actually rehearsing or role playing. It sets them up for success for that next step. So you want to demonstrate how to display target behaviors in each setting. So you want to teach them to be respectful. So, hey, have your hand up before speaking. You want to listen actively. So you want to teach them to be responsible, how to follow directions the first time, how to complete work. So yeah, by modeling, it just basically, again, like I said, it takes away any of those misconceptions, because if you just say it without showing them, it leaves a little too much to interpretation. Okay, so we're going to have a little fun. I am actually going to, again, and you guys will do this here in a little bit, but I'm going to play the part of mentor. I am going to need a volunteer. I have a volunteer to play the student. Okay, Miss Gomez, thank you. So I'm going to play the mentor, and you'll play the student. All right, and we'll use this prompt that's up here on the board. And you're going to play Billy. Okay, good morning, Billy. I'm glad to see you're here today. How are you doing, man? Okay, I guess. Yeah, man, I noticed that. So what we're going to do today, we're going to focus on 2 goals for you: staying in your seat during third period and raising your hand before speaking. So do you think you can do those things? Well, yeah, I can do that. All right, man, great, man. I believe in you. So what your teachers are going to do, they're going to mark your card throughout the day. So what we're going to do, we're going to check out this afternoon and we'll see how you did. All right, so you have a good morning. All right, so see how I just modeled for you the demonstration phase? Okay, so now we're going to move on to step 3, rehearsal. So what is rehearsal? So this is where the student actually practices the check-in out routine after seeing it modeled. So this allows your students to try out target behaviors in a safe, non-judgmental environment, so they're away from their peers, so they don't have to feel self-conscious. So as a mentor, you're going to provide immediate, specific feedback during the practice. It builds that student confidence before they start using these skills in the classroom, in the real world. So you're going to want to be sure to rehearse all 3 settings, like what you're going to want to rehearse, what the check-in process looks like, what the skill is supposed to look like during class. You're going to want to rehearse the checkout process. Okay, and that moves us on to our partner practice. So there's each of y'all is in a table of 4, so you're going to partner up with the person next to you. So each of you is going to take turns playing the mentor and the student. So up here on the board, we've got the scenario. So we're going to practice conducting what a morning check-in is supposed to look like, and it shows here what we're going to be looking for. So your role, you're going to be the mentor, and then your partner will play a student who's just arrived at school. So, you know, you're a bit disengaged and just had behavioral issues last week, so you've been talking back to your teacher, not following directions. And again, what we're looking for from the mentor, so we're going to be looking for that warm, genuine greeting within the first 10 seconds of encountering the student. You're going to address those 1 to 2 specific observable goals. For instance, up here it shows about the disengagement and the behavior issues. So you're going to want to address those goals. So you're going to want to make sure the student demonstrates the understanding of the goals. You are going to provide specific praise and encourage them for the rest of the day. Okay, so now we move on to step 4, feedback. So this is the final step in the behavior skills training component that reinforces learning. So it tells the student what they did well and ways to improve. So there's 2 types of feedback. So there's specific praise, such as, man, great job, you made eye contact and use a calm voice during check-in. That's a great sign of respect. And then there's corrective feedback. So I noticed you interrupted. So what we're going to do, let's give it another try. So what I want you to do for me, so wait until it's your turn before you speak. You see how I corrected that feedback? And okay, so we're going to move on to different types of feedback. So here's some examples of effective and non-effective feedback. So what we want to stay with effective feedback. We want to provide feedback immediately after the behavior occurs or after practicing it. So you want to maintain a calm, respectful tone with the student. You are going to want to keep your feedback brief and focused on one behavior at a time. You don't want to rapid fire multiple, okay, you need to work on this, and this. Just keep it one at a time. So when you're giving feedback to your student, you want to be facing them, making eye contact with them, and using a private location when possible. Again, you don't want to give them feedback in front of their peers. And then some examples of feedback that's not effective. You want to avoid giving generic praise, like, great job, that's awesome, you did great today. So using feedback like that doesn't really tell them anything. I mean, it's just generic. It's not productive. So you want to avoid delayed feedback. So you want to avoid waiting till like the end of the week. You don't want to talk on Friday about something that happened Monday or Tuesday because, I mean, they may not even remember doing it. So you want to avoid using harsh or punitive tones. So you want to avoid using feedback as a type of punishment rather than a teaching opportunity. You don't want to, God, why do that? No. Yeah, you want to avoid that at all. So also, you want to avoid ignoring any kind of positive behaviors. So if you're only telling them what they're doing wrong, it's really not effective. You want to also reinforce those positive behaviors that they're doing. So you want to definitely give them feedback, positive, and things they need to work on. Okay, so how do we monitor the fidelity of implementation? So what we do, so fidelity of the implementation, what that is, that refers to the degree to which an evidence-based practice is implemented as designed, which is measured through 3 things. So it's measured through, first of all, adherence. So that's following the instructional procedure of the practice or program they were intended by implementing all components in the correct order. So we want to make sure we maintain the exposure duration. So we want to implement the practice or program for the recommended time, so the length of the session. So how long are they supposed to last? Are they supposed to last 2 minutes? Are they supposed to last 15 minutes? Are they supposed to last 30 minutes? So the duration of the evidence-based practice. So how long is this evidence-based practice made for? Is it supposed to only last 1 semester, 1 school year, the entire time they're in school? And how frequent are we implementing it? So do we do it every day? Do we do it twice a week, 3 times a week, et cetera, et cetera? And the overall quality of delivery. So you want to do it using good teacher practices, and what those are is just showing enthusiasm, making time for the student, showing up on time. So what you see here on the right, this is how we monitor the fidelity. So there's 10 different steps that we are looking for in the check-in, check-out process. So ideally we want to be at 100%, but the overall goal is 90% of components implemented during 80% of our check-ins throughout the month. So here we're looking for The student checked in with designated mentor before school started. Number 2 being, did the mentor positively acknowledge the student at check-in? Number 3 being, the student gave their progress report to the teacher at the end or at the beginning of the designated class period. Did the teachers positively acknowledge the student? Did the teachers provide contingent feedback at the end of class? So did the student check out with the designated mentor at the end of the day? Did the student take their daily report home and get their parents to sign it? So have they been recording their points every day? So the student's checkout data was reviewed by their PBIS facilitator. And so are the processes in place for the students check in and check out? So each of these we're going to be looking for to make sure it's done correctly. And then next we are going to move on to data collection. So the type of data collection we use a daily metric, which we look at their total points. So if they have the ability to earn 100 points and they only earn 50 points, so we divide that number so we see that they're at 50%. So we use visual tracking, so we graph daily percentages to monitor upward or downward trends. We review their weekly data, so our team will meet to analyze data and make necessary adjustments. So our data shows us any kind of goal modifications, if we need to adjust our incentives, if we need to make any exit decisions. So some of the exit criteria for check-in and out. So they may exit the program. So if they are receiving an 80% or higher on their points on daily ratings for 2 to 4 consecutive weeks, we may have them exit check-in and out. So if we see reduced office discipline referrals compared to their baseline, for example, if they had a baseline score, if they're getting 6 referrals a week and they're down to 0. So our gen ed teachers report improved behavior in non-monitored settings. So what we do with some of this information, so if we see that they're maintaining or showing signs of improvement, we usually will continue with it. If we see that they're just showing some signs of plateauing, we may just need to tweak it a little bit. Or if their behavior is just slowly declining, we need to look into it a little bit more, do some investigating, investigate the fidelity, what's going on. Okay, and some of our challenges that would come with common implementation. So one is having the teachers buy-in and consistency. So our challenges, I get it, guys, we're busy, so sometimes teachers don't complete cards consistently and they forget to rate behavior. So I know some of the root causes are just some teachers will just, oh my God, that's one more thing to do. They may not understand the impact of it, but we have to frame it as it's improving the classroom management for you as a teacher. So if little Billy is not acting out as much, that's positive for you as a teacher. So you also have to highlight the outcomes for the student, make it routine. So another challenge that we see sometimes that the student may start off strong. So for example, the challenge, they may be engaged for the first 2 weeks and then just slowly start losing interest. So it could be because rewards aren't meaningful or they just get sick of the same rewards. So the goals might be too ambitious. So how we can prevent that is, we can maybe rotate rewards monthly. We can ensure that they have achievable goals. And, we celebrate those small wins with them. And the third challenge being fidelity drift, and this is a very, very serious one. So if we feel like their check-ins are becoming rushed, if feedback is just generic, which we want to avoid. So sometimes it may be because of time constraints, unclear procedures. We're not there's a lack of monitoring. So how we do that, how we prevent that from happening, we start to implement monthly fidelity checks, do some more peer coaching, and provide some booster trainings for you guys. Okay, so how do we make the sustainability for the school year? So we have to build internal capacity, so we train our staff like we're doing today. So we want to reduce any kind of consultant reliance. We have to integrate any kind of potential costs into the budget. If we have to allocate resources for a mentor position, purchasing rewards, any kind of PD that we have to do. We have to make sure it aligns with district initiatives. We have to make sure it's connected to our PBIS and multi-tier support system, any kind of special education compliance efforts. And lastly, we have to monitor and adjust. This is important. So we have to review data regularly, adapt it to school context, and with our students, we just have to celebrate wins. Okay, guys, so I told y'all I would have y'all out of here by 3 o'clock, and I want to respect everybody's time. Thank you for coming. If you have any questions, feel free to come see me after the meeting, or you can always send me an email or drop by my office. I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks a lot for coming.